I don't know anything about. I'm not a biker. I've never ridden a motorcycle in my life. But it made me feel like I knew that world. I was dropped into that world. It made me understand the world. It made me, feel for some of these characters. For you, how accurate was that world to some of the groups that you knew in the past?
It was accurate, but not as much. I know a lot of the real guys, and then I want to see people die in their whole career, 30-year career. They'll see maybe 3 or 4 guys, It's just a TV show. You got to be, otherwise be one way. We're waiting 7 years for one person to die. But it's just to keep you entertained. But from the feedback that I've got from the real MCs, the 1% guys over the years, we did pretty good in the deal. Saying they were really happy with the character, how I played him. I stood true to the code, which sometimes they didn't. And I was always straight and narrow, but when they messed with me, I had to mess with them back. You know what I'm saying? But they're really happy about that. So that's good. That's what we want to. Whatever you do, say you play a lawyer on TV, and a real lawyer says, "Hey, man, that's how we do it." That's what you want the real guy to say. "Hey, that's how we do it," and we did it, man. It was good.
Now, a lot of people remember some of these big performances, but the smallest visual details, the patches, scars, weapons, piece of jewelry, was there a detail that was created specifically for you?
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I was different crowd yesterday. So the thing was, so when I got hired, they had all these tattoos made for me, like all sleep dog, and I've been doing bad guy roles for a long time. I know it's a lot of work, so I said, no, I'm not going to do that because that means I have to do it 3 hours earlier. So what I did is, if you watch Sons and Minds, I always have long sleeves, just so I wouldn't be in the makeup chair for 3 hours. Yeah, I did that. I shot it down because I know it would be a lot of time on a chair. But one time I got shot in the chest, and I said, make it easy, bro. Just put a big old calendar on my chest. It'd be one time and I'm out of there. You know what I'm saying? It was good. So, and it's good that they listened to me. It was nice. Except one thing I do. Back in the day, me and my dad, rest in peace. We're from the streets, and he had this tattoo on his hand. He always liked this tattoo, and he goes, "Keep tattoos is for me on my hand." And I did. So back in the day, we used to get a needle, some ink, and then we used to hit you with it, So I put this tattoo in my dad's hand. So anytime I play, if you see the show Marcus Alvarez, I haven't put it on my hand in homage to my dad. Because I did that for him. So it's kind of always bring a little bit into the characters,
I love that. Ron, for you. Sorry. For you, when the show comes about, I really find your approach to your work so fascinating. Can you talk about how the show was kind of pitched to you and what immediately made you want to dive into it?
I've said this. Clay Morrow I almost said no because in order to play a character effectively, you have to meet with him on some level. You have to have something inside of you where you understand this guy, even if you don't, nothing like him at all, but there's something about his psychology, there's something about his values, and that's when I say yes to a role, or if I don't think I understand him, I say no. And they came to me, they were offering me the role of Clay Morrow. I didn't know whether I understood how to play him. And it was like I had played roles when covered in makeup and shit, like 80,000 years ago, like, cavemen and shit, hunchbacks from the Middle Ages. But I understood those guys. I didn't understand Clay Morrow. He had a kind of a violence, he had a kind of a ruthlessness, he had a kind of a code that was really foreign to me. And I thought I was going to fuck it up. And I had these 2 angels on my shoulder. One of them was going, "So you think you're not going to take the role? What are you, a fucking pussy?" And then the other guy was saying, "Dude, man, you call yourself an actor, man, you don't back down. Don't be." And they argued and just want to be a pussy. So I said, okay, I'll do it.
That's incredible. So you took it more so out of just making sure that you could do it.
The guy on my right shoulder was just really loud and obnoxious, and I couldn't ignore him.
Emilio Alvarez, he's one of the great survivors of this universe. He's seen wars, betrayal, loss, power shifts, but he always finds a way to stay standing. What do you think he understood about survival that maybe some of the other characters didn't?
He lived and learned. You know what I'm saying? I mean, at one time, you know, the way at the end was the easiest in life. You know, like the way easy was at in the beginning, I mean, the end was what I was in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? You know, so I learned, you know, I learned you get a little greedy, you try something wrong, it comes back at you. So I was just trying to school him the right way. That doesn't work, brother. You know, it does not work. But of course, he had to learn on his own, and he got this order to do it today. You know what I'm saying? So it's just life, man, living and learning. You know what I mean? Now, I'm still living and learning.
You know, speaking of living and learning, what did you both learn about yourselves through playing these characters?
You know, brother, shit, man. You know, Alvarez is the guy I was maybe 30 years ago. So I lived the life. You know, I lived that. You know, I come from that lifestyle. You dig? So it was not easy. It was kind of one of the closest characters to who I was in real life. So that's why I liked it so much. It was just so easy. Just go in there and be me 30 years. Just go back 30 years. You know what I'm saying? And it would have kicked. And then I ride Harley. I have Harleys. And I got to use my own Harley. Like they would rent some of my Harleys. So it was cool.
That's amazing.
If I was working, the bikes were working. You know what I mean? It's good. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
How about for yourself, Ron? What did you learn about yourself through playing Clay?
I learned that I didn't like motorcycles.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a big part of the show. Now, both of you are leaders in their own right, but they live very different lifestyles. What do you think loyalty meant to each one of your characters?
That was a prerequisite in our club. That was the first commandment. You show loyalty to anyone above us or beyond us or other than us. You ain't gonna be walking around tomorrow. Loyalty was everything.
Loyalty all my life has been instilled in my family. It's just where I come from. You did. I never start nobody here. I always say you gotta work. I start everybody here. You dwindle yourself down. You want to stay home, you go. You dwindle yourself down. I know who's. That's how you weed everybody out. You start everybody here. Always. That's how I was brought up. You did. And I'm gonna respect you. You respect me. It's real simple. You know. So I just carry that. I carry that in my real life. You know. Sorry.
Now, out of curiosity, this show ran for multiple seasons. How much did you know about the character's journey from when you started to when the show ended? Like, do they tell you season to season? Like, how does that work?
They didn't tell us script to script. We just we were learning as we went along.
Oh, wow.
We never knew what was coming next. It becomes a concern. You're playing something and you don't know what's happening in next week's show, and you're hoping you don't fuck up what they're about to drop, you know. But you just that's the way it goes. They give you one script at a time. You play that script, and then you hope that it's leading to the right kind of conclusions.
Well, speaking of that, I'm very curious about this because, Ron, especially between film and television, I've spoken to a lot of actors that have done series for a long time, and there's this sense of ownership that comes with those characters because they know the characters so well. And obviously, when you're doing a television series, you have different directors coming in from time to time that may not understand the world as well or anything like that. Are there any times where you feel like there's a choice about the character where you feel like you know a little bit better than maybe the direction is giving?
And I will let you know why. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I've done this, and I've had it a couple of times. First of all, like Juan said, they wrote as you went on, but as they saw how you played them, they would write for your character. You did? So that's when the writers don't change. The writers are the directors, they do change. And then when there was something having to do something, a new director, I would say, no, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. What do you mean? Well, I go, and then one time he was kind of like, well, they're all nice, but that one guy said, well, I go, have you seen the show? I told him that. He goes, oh, I studied the show before I got on. Good, well, then I wouldn't do that. And I didn't do it. And you just got to make those, you got to say it, otherwise you're going to play this one. People that are really watching this are going to say, that's how it is character.
Yeah, because you're the one playing the character.
Yeah, of course. And I've already